Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the market close. We got a green day. We've got a green month in Canada. Canada, oh boy, we've had we've started right out of the gate in a nice green. Uh, what are we gonna call a green gallop? A green momentum. It's looking pretty good. So definitely a green day. We're going to take a look at it. We'll take a look as well as what's going on in the United States. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Got an interesting comment in the news today from the former uh, what's his name, Jean Charest. He was like the former premier of Quebec. It's an interesting one. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. It's going to be fun. Of course, we'll also deal with all of your questions, and yeah, we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes, but before we go anywhere, we need to. Oh, you know what we need to do? Give me 1 second here, guys. I did not do it. I need to turn on. I need to turn on our friend. So let me see here. Where the heck is our friend at? Oh boy. Some days. Some days. All right. Oh, that's because I'm not even on the right side. I'll just tell you guys. If you guys want a Friday show, the normal super thing is on. I don't have the Nightbot announcement on for whatever reason, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. You guys know the drill by now. So yeah, for supers, it can be super thanks, it could be super chat, it can even be gifted memberships. Those all count. We get 4 of them by the time we finish the show today. We throw on an extra show this week. All right, let's jump on into the chart, and I'll bring the chart up here for us. So we got the TSX. We have our new blue line, and we're above it. So the blue line, in case you're new to the channel, that's where we left off at the end of last month. So this is where we left August and entered September. And as you can see, like, we've been doing fantastic. Other than, well, we're starting to get a little bit of a retracement this afternoon. So we got a couple of red candles. Hopefully that's not a trend, but right now things are still looking pretty good on the Canadian side. TSX today 0.23% above, so not too shabby. Switching to the United States. They are below the blue line, so they are currently having a red September. We're having a green. They are having a green day though, 0.31. But you can see, look at this gap. This was a massive gap. They started the day out yesterday down big time, big time. All right, and very quickly, we got our first super right out of the gate. Zozo is in with the $2 super sticker, and that also comes with the distinction of, well, the GOAT. So Zozo Trader is currently the GOAT. I love it. I love it. All right. We were on the S&P 500. All right. Now, switching to the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is also underneath our blue line. They are in the green today, though, 0.41% up. Yesterday, actually, tech yesterday kind of led a lot of that down momentum that the S&P 500 had. So, oh boy, yeah, sometimes it's nice to be in Canada. Now, mind you, in Canada, well, we're going to talk a little bit about it. Gold kind of helped us out big time yesterday too. So, the Dow Jones also well below the blue line, as it is in the red today, down 0.27. And we got the little stocks over at the Russell, and they're up a tiny bit on the day, 0.13, but they are below that blue line. So still in red territory for September. It's a long month. We got a long way to go. So I think we're good. And I'm going to jump here really quickly here. We got, well, hold on, guys. I am trying to, normally I just click on a name and it will pop up. For some reason, I'm getting something really weird here. All right. Well, we do have another super. Jersey beef. I don't know why it won't let me display it. But Jersey beef has dropped us with a super, and that makes Jersey beef the goat. Now, can I get to the goat screen? I'm having a weird. I'm having some weirdness here. I know why. Never mind. I think I got it figured out. There we go. Jersey beef 279. That does give Jersey. Yeah, there we go. Our second goat of the day. We get a few more goats and we're gonna need a corral. So that's always fun. That's always fun. All right, perfect. Whew. Now, yeah. So gold today up 0.87. Now, this is interesting. I did mention that gold helped the TSX yesterday quite a bit. It really helped push things up quite a bit. Now, you notice how the last two candles today on the TSX were in the red. Look at this. The last two candles on the gold is on the red. So maybe the gold is what's causing this little bit of a red ending to the day today. So we'll have to keep watching on that. That's for sure. Silver also up 0.77, well, 0.78%. A WTI, oh boy. Oil is in the basement, down 2.21%. Like, look at this. It is, it's not having that good of a day. And as far as I know, we don't have any kind of a big driver for this at the moment. All right, Bitcoin. Bitcoin is up 0.84 and Ethereum is up 3.50. So looking good, looking good. Let's go to those heat maps. Let's take a look and see if we can see what's going on. What's going on here? Whoops. We get the sidebar. Go away, sidebar. We do not want to see. And that's the American heat map. Okay. Let's there we go. Oh no, they're both American. Oh, that's weird. For some reason it defaulted. Let's just pull us back to Canada. There we go. You'd think I would look at this before the show starts. You think I would. You think I would. I actually looked at it yesterday, and it was all fine yesterday. I don't know why it switched over, but looking at, oh boy, look at this. Couche-Tard, Alimentation Couche-Tard, they're up 6.38% or 6.33%. That's really good, and it's funny. Earlier in the day, I was looking at them as a possible swing, and I didn't go with them, but they would have actually been pretty good. They would have been pretty good. Celestica also standing out here. Celestica up up 4.96%. So a good day for Celestica. Most of our, well, as you can see, all of our oil companies down big time. C&Q, Suncor, Imperial Oil, Synovus. They're pretty much all down. We could say that Torlamine has a bit of a victory because they're only down 0.29% today. All right, switching to the United States, and we already kind of looked at them. As you can see, we got a bit of a rebound today in most, well, not all attack, but some attack. Google up 8.61%. Now, Google does not have to sell Chrome, and that was one of the things that was going on with some of that antitrust stuff, or anti-monopoly. There was fear that Google was going to have to sell Chrome to another company or split it into another company. But it's been ruled that they don't have to. So people are pretty ecstatic about that, and I think that's part of what is pumping up Google today. Apple also looking pretty good, up 3.44%. Obviously, you'll see this little red over here. Those are a lot of the oil companies in the United States. So they're also deep in the red thanks to oil retracing. You can see Chevron there, ExxonMobil. Yeah, what can we say? And finally, heading over to crypto, mostly Green Day. Mostly green day across the board. We can see Cardano up 2.49, Ethereum like 4.73. Um, Even Chainlink is up 3.20%. There's a lot. There's a lot of crypto out there, and there's about more than 15,000 altcoins. I like to pick a random altcoin that I've never heard of to just to highlight the futility of some of these little coins. This is Simon the Gator. Okay. Um, Other than the fact that I kind of like the name, that's it. That's it. I mean, it's worth basically a tenth of a penny. It looks like it just released because I got nothing here. It released and then started diving. So I guess this gator likes the bottom of the pool. So I don't know. I always say be really careful if you're looking at some of these small crypto coins because honestly, there's a lot of rug pulls in there, and a lot of them you're just gonna lose money. You guys know I'm not a fan of penny stocks. These crap coins, they're even more risky. There's a lot of money to be made in crypto, no doubt about it. But stick to the big boys, your Bitcoins, your XRP, your Ethereum, your Solana. Actually, really funny, quick little side note. One day I didn't say XRP, and somebody actually gave me heck for it. And they're like, "What about XRP? How could you forget XRP?" Yeah, XRP, and of course even Dogecoin. You're gonna, it's fun. And right now, heck, you don't even have to go directly in the coins. There are so many great ETFs to give you exposure to the world of crypto, and yeah, there's lots of ways, and you don't even have to get involved if you don't like crypto. That's fine too. All right, guys, it's time to hit these comments. In first is Muhammad with a hello, hello, hello. All right. Well, hi there. Jersky in the house. Good afternoon. I'm harvesting peas today, so won't be typing much. Today, but I can't wait to listen. Yeah, I hear ya. Sorry, I got distracted for a second because my my watch started ringing. I'm like, who the heck would call me when I'm streaming? I don't know. It's probably spam. Jonathan is in the house. Am I too late to buy Chrome? Yes, they're not for sale, but I guess now you can invest all of those pennies you've been pinching together to for your big Chrome purchase. Jim Peterson is in the house, and we got Stan Gray, and of course Zozo Trader, one of our goats of the day. And Jersky says I picked up some more Q Day yesterday. Yes, well, yeah, that would be a perfect day. Obviously buy the dip, right? And we've got JJ the Mod. What's good on this really hot afternoon? I know, it is a pretty darn hot afternoon. I went out to find one of the cats, and I was just like, oh my God, it feels like summer. I mean, technically we're still in summer, although I think we're in what's called meteorological fall. I think that's at the beginning of September, but we're still technically in summer. King Deuce in the house. Holy banana bread. Green is good. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a pretty good day. And Brian says, good afternoon, everyone. Rory's in the house with a hello. Jim says, I like green banana bread. Jim, if your banana bread is green, it means you're not eating it fast enough. Eat faster. That's what I would say. Mary is in the house with a hello, and Mary is our official captain of the like button. So guys, if you have not hit that like button yet, now's the time. Just give it a good old click. It'll turn blue. That way there you know you did it right when it turns blue. Brian says, whoever asked about Google hitting 225, I would say yes. Glad I bought at 114. Yeah, with what Google's doing today. Holy cow. Vic is in the house. Let's see. I didn't forget my manners. Came in after hitting the like button first. Nice. It's like those people who take off their muddy boots before they come into your house. Rory says, I finally picked up some HYLD on the Tuesday dip and the X div. Nice. Yeah, they kind of lined up. So HYLD, good sale on that on, yesterday. Jim says, I hit like before you said hi, Mary. You know what? I think for those of you who've been around for a while, all you have to do is see Mary show up in the comments, and it's like, oh my God, gotta hit the like button. I think there's many of you who are like that. That's like that thing, and it's funny. I know a lot of the streams I watch. I actually love it when the host says hit the like button, because sometimes I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, I thought I already did, and I hadn't, because I know how the algorithm works, so I always try to help out the folks I'm watching at the same time. Jim says, I hit before you said, all right. Oh, we already did that one. Rory added ZDV and have an order for XEQT. Nice. I will tell you guys now. I'm telling the channel members. So the channel members, I'm sending out a little bit of of a swing report. I haven't gotten off to a lot of swings this year, but I've had at least one that I've done, this year, this month. And I do have another, I will talk about the Air Canada one to you guys, because I've been talking about that for a while, and I'm looking at going with 19. If it drops below 19, I'm gonna do it. Now, yesterday it did, and I kicked my butt because I didn't have a limit order in, and I had to step out for a good chunk of the afternoon yesterday, and I was like, no. Because it did drop below that target. But I do have a limit order in there right now. So if it drops down to 19 today, I got them. But I will say, last I looked, I believe they're around $19.20. Well, heck, we got the computer. We can just look and see. Because, the market has been coming down. Maybe Air Canada has been too. Oh, London Gold. Yep. I was, all right, let's look at London Gold first. We'll look at Air Canada after this. Oh, guys, the bell. The market's closed. I was like almost 3 minutes late. Oh my God. I couldn't come on to it with any enthusiasm when I'm late. It's like dragging yourself out of a pool of water wet. There's no enthusiasm, and you got your clothes on. No enthusiasm, none at all. London Gold. They have been having the last couple of days. Well, I mean, look at this. They've gone from about $83 up to $90, and that's just since this morning. It looks like no, it's August. There we go, August 29th. I'm just going to let's go to the 1 month. Here we go. Yeah, this 1 month. So in the last month, they've gone from 65 to 90. Now, mind you, that 65, they did have a little bit of a retracement. Let's pull back to 6 months here. They had a little bit of a retracement down to 65 from here, but they're doing good again. They're doing good, and I hold them in the challenge. So I am loving London Gold. But anyway, Air Canada. Let's pull Air Canada up. Here we go. Yeah, it's sitting at 19.20. This is what I missed yesterday. I missed this. And how far low did it go? It got oh my God, it got all the way down to 18.92. I missed it. Well, if it does it again, I will be ready. I'm going to keeping a limit order up for sure. All right, Brian says, I was over the place with my OAS buys, CNYEHHISOILY, and Utes. There we go. Awesome. All right, and I'm just going to quickly jump ahead here. We got ourselves a super sticker from Mary. That means, guys, we do need a corral. We've got our third goat. So it's happening. So we're one super or gifted membership away from a Friday show. So I'm pretty sure that's probably going to happen because we got the 3. It's just one more, and we're on. We're gonna go. It's a go. It's gonna be a go. All right. Now let's see where I was. I got a little bit of the sniffles today. I don't have a cold, just the sniffles. All right. Where the heck was I? All right. Let's see here. Right over here. Rory says HHIC might be an addition. I read that. I glanced ahead. Like I'm glancing ahead a little bit when I'm going through these. And I glanced ahead and I swore that said HHIC might be an addiction. But it's an addition. Yeah, I'm still looking. So I will mention this, like the 0 to 100K challenge, that comes out on Friday. Channel members will see that tomorrow. But I will say this, I wanted to get into HHIC, but I didn't get the retracement I was expecting. So I'm kind of still sitting there waiting for it. But I might have to just bite the bullet. I might have to bite the bullet on this one. Brian says, if oil is in the basement, then why is gas going up 4 cents tonight in the GTA? One of the reasons is there's a bit of a delay. So if oil goes, if oil's kind of having a little roughness now, they've already made, like that gas decision was already made before the weekend. So it doesn't always take into account recent things. So that's one of the reasons, yeah. And yeah, I know. It's not fun if you're a driver, that's for sure. Let's see, market seems red except Google and Apple. No. Yeah, when you look, of course, at, and let's just pull that back up here again. Here we go. Yeah, when you look at the U.S. market, I mean, there's not a lot in here to be happy about. Like, a lot of things are down. But, like Google, heck, they're up another 1% since we last looked here, 15 minutes ago? Google up 9.14%. So, yeah, when you've got the big companies, so the Magnificent Seven, we'll say, their market caps are so big that they can often make a red market look green because by pulling it up. So yeah, absolutely. I would agree with you on that defense. I think it's a Google Apple day, more Google than Apple. But yeah, absolutely. Oh, Rory. Yes, HOD jumped 5% this morning, but missed it. My buy is at 460. All right. Nice. So yeah, HOD, guys, that is that inverse oil ETF. So, and it's got some leverage in there too. Like yeah, it's 2x. It's 2 times leverage. So when oil's going down, HOD is going up twice as fast. But it's a dangerous one to have. Those are the type of funds that you don't want to be holding them for more than a day, because the leverage on them, it doesn't carry over. It actually resets every single day. So sometimes you can get some funky results if you're trying to hold it for a longer term. So these are more strategic, and honestly, they're designed for day traders, to be completely honest with you. They're not really designed for investors. So be careful with those, but if you know what you're doing, then that's not a bad thing. Do you have a community Discord? I do. Let me put the link in here for you. Discord. Here we go. So yeah, anytime you guys want a link for something, just put an exclamation mark and whatever it is, and hopefully it'll pop up. If it doesn't, then let me know and I'll just add it, because if I have it, I should have it in there. Brian says Apple is partially up because of the fees they will collect from Google and the phone Chrome app. That's true. You know what? That is absolutely true, because yeah, that's that big deal between Google and Apple's that Google wants their search engine, for one, to be the default search engine, and that's kind of part of the deal, and also the whole Chrome thing. That is big for Apple. Apple doesn't care. Apple's getting paid. Google pays them a big chunk of money. I can't remember the exact amount, but yeah, that's exactly what. Yeah, you're right. Philly says, greetings all from Windsor, Ontario. Hi, hello, Philly. Hope you're having a good day. Tom says, hi all. Rory, overnight low here is approaching 0 to +3. Holy banana bread. I will tell you, It was, I had my window open last night and it was pretty warm. We're having, and this is funny, last week, it was a cold week. I switched back. I switched back to regular coffee, opposed to the iced coffee. So the iced coffee's been retired till next summer. But yeah, it was cold. It was cold last week. This week it's been warm. It's been, and even I think, JJ mentioned that it's hot. Hot is all heck outside. It really is. Yes, I know. I was late. I was late with the bell. All right. 19 on Air Canada, getting higher and higher. Yes, 19 is my new strike price. I am going to. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see. Hopefully, I'm hoping it gets back there. I just wish I should have had. I should have set up. I should have set up a limit order on that yesterday before I went out, but I didn't. Dursky says, Candace says, HHIC FOMO, fear of missing out. It's not so much that fear of missing out. It's more or less that I kind like, and I want to be clear, I do have some HHIC. I just don't have any in the challenge. So it's kind of that interesting thing, but I do want it in the challenge. So, like I said, I might bite the bullet on it. I might very well. I probably will in September because I definitely want to have it. Doorpat says, am I late? Hello, all. Are we getting the red September? I need a dip. Okay. So red September. Is it coming? Or is this going to be in a typical month? Are we going to have a green, excuse me. Are we going to have a green September? We might. And here's that thing. Despite, even lately, I've noticed, even when the market is going red in the States, instead of us following suit, what ends up happening is a lot of the investors in the States right now, and I think it's because everybody's kind of at that point where they're like, is the end about to happen? Is this all going to come crashing down? And of course, when you're worried, what do? You start to move a little bit of stuff over to safer investments like gold. And as fear builds in the United States, what it's been doing is it's been pumping gold. And Canada has a lot of really big gold mining companies, and that has been propping up the TSX. So, with that in mind, could we get to a situation where Canada has a green month that's basically powered by gold, which is powered by fear because of a chaos happening in the States. And there's a lot of chaos in the States. I mean, last I heard, I think Trump is planning on sending troops into, the National Guard into Chicago. It's crazy down there. So we'll have to sort of see how this is all going to roll out. But if I had to make a prediction on the month, and I think I made it the other day, I'm going to say it's a green month, but not by much. I'm thinking just green, like almost standard deviation of being flat green. So I think we'll have a green month, but not by much. Jim says, will the exporting gas out of Kitimat, the 10th load just left the dock? Nice. So Kitimat, over there in BC, that's where we're shipping our LNG over to Asia. So, it started, as Jim just said, 10th load is leaving. So that's not too bad. CIBC. Yes, here we go. CIBC also hit a all-time high today. And that is the other sector. So I mentioned how gold and mining has been really propping up the TSX. But the other thing, too, is our financial sector's doing fine. Like, our banks have been weathering the storm really, really well. So, with the quarterly, and as you know, the last video was the quarterly report, but pretty much all of the banks had money left over after their loan loss provisions that had been set aside for August. So they all did better than expected. And of course, if there's money left over, that flows back in as part of their cash flow. So if they can keep that up, and there's no guarantee they can, but if they can keep that up, it could be a very interesting. That could also be another thing that could help keep the market up into the green through September. So it's going to be interesting. It is definitely going to be interesting. All right, Brian says, I'm being sarcastic about the 4-cent gas increase. I'm just northwest of Toronto, and our gas prices will start at 138.90 in the morning. Every day it drops during the day. I bought at 124.90. Yes, really, this is amazing. Not amazing in a good way. So basically, they're milking the people in the morning, and I bet you a lot of people. I bet you more people end up buying their gas on their way to work than opposed to coming home from work. So they're hitting with higher prices in the morning, and they're milking a lot of people. Holy banana bread. All right. Let's see. ROI. So Royal Bank and CIBC are crazy expensive already. I shaved some off of each. I know. I really think, especially Royal Bank. I think Royal Bank should do a stock split. I would love to see that, but hard to say. Brian, exclamation mark, road to Easy Street. Not there. Well, there's no such thing as Easy Street. Every street out there, you gotta earn it. You gotta earn your streets. What can I say? A 126.9 in Lloydminster. Of course, it's close to Edmonton. There we go. It's funny. When I looked at the 126.9 in Lloydminster, I heard it in the back of my head as a radio announcer, saying we're 129 in Lloydminster. Tune in for great hits. I don't know. All right. Defense says, how do you find a strike price like Air Canada is 19? Okay. Well, let's go take a look here. I'm gonna. Whoops, that's not where I went. I want to go here. Oh, I'm already here. All right, we're gonna come back here to Air Canada. So this here is, and I'm gonna come. Actually, I'm gonna go to the 10-year because I'll give you the whole story. Defense. So as you can see, this giant drop here. This is the pandemic. Oh boy. The pandemic was absolutely brutal for Air Canada, and you can see. You know what? Just a second here. I'm gonna do one better. Let me just highlight this. All right, let's go into Canva, and I'm gonna pull up a whiteboard here. Come on, Canva. Seriously. All right, let's refresh Canva. Canva seems to be stuck. All right, there we go. Whiteboard. All right. This is going to be fun. This is fun. I like this. All right, let's go. Uploads, upload files. That was desktop. That was a screenshot. So we'll just pull that screenshot up. Bang, here it is. All right, this is what I want. Our nice 10-year view of Air Canada right here. Why did I just do this? Why did I go through this? Because then I can draw on it. That's why. All right, I'm gonna get a pen out. And we'll stick with the red. All right, perfect. So here was the pandemic right here. Come on, let me draw. So here was the pandemic. I'll just put a P up here for that. So when the pandemic happened, Air Canada, to survive, they had to dilute their shares. So diluting shares is basically, it's almost exactly like what it sounds like. They basically print off a whole bunch of new shares that they then sell. Hence, their share price goes down because there's a lot more shares. Because share prices basically, if you take their market cap and you divide it by the number of shares that they have, like the outstanding shares, that should give you the share price. So in this case, if you print a whole bunch more shares, it pulls the number down. The math works that way. So the number comes down. So we got into this kind of mess back here. Now, I played a few things in this little area in here. I played in here a little bit, but now that we're beyond that, this is all the pandemic area when it was going pretty much here, like, from 19 all the way down to about 14. and it was moving back and forth. This was really good territory because when you're looking, I'm going to show you something here. When you're looking to do a strike, a lot of times you have what is called a channel. So you're looking for a stock that moves, within the channel. And, if you get something like that, that's fantastic because what you can do is you can quite literally, you can buy down here, you can sell up here, and then you're doing it again, buy, sell, buy, sell. And, that's how you make money swing trading. Now, when it comes to strike prices, you're going to look at these. And one of the things that I will do is I like to find what that strike price is. And I will usually, I'm going to come in just with a little bit of I will usually create my own little strike price area on both sides. So what these dotted lines I just put in there means is you'll notice, see how this one did hit this channel? Like these here is what I would call a resistance, and this here would be a support. It hit the support and deflected, but you'll notice here it deflected before it got to the support, and that happens as well. That's why I create a line. So I have a bit of a buffer. I'm not going to use the support as my prices. So in this case here with Air Canada, I have now set this at $19 as my bottom. And for my top, I have set that, well, I haven't really set it, but let's just say I'm going to set that at about 22 this time. So that's kind of the range I'm going to look at, like about a $3 range. I'm not going to be greedy. It might be quite higher. And generally, if I get to that 22, I'm not going to sell it right away. I'll usually just put a stop loss on it and adjust the stop loss if it keeps going higher so that I can try to max out what I can get on this. But, so looking at that, let's go back to Air Canada. And here we go. So we did, in the challenge, we did a couple of, we did 2 swings already. So the first swing was in this area here. I'll just call this number 1. And the second swing we did was this area here. We'll call this 2. So these are the 2 swings that we did on the challenge. Now, in this case here, on the first swing, I think the number was 16. So I think it was something along this line here. So if it was below that line, I was buying, and then I was going to sell up here. So that's kind of that little channel that I was looking at right there. So you can sort of see that channel, bang, bang. And this time it actually broke through the channel a bit. Now, where it broke through the channel, they announced share buybacks. And that's kind of an important thing. So at this point here, I'm going to just put a line here, and we got share buybacks. So I'll just put SB. So a share buyback means they buy some of those shares they printed from customers, obviously, or from investors. They buy those shares back and they destroy them. They just disappear. They're gone. So all of a sudden, you have less outstanding shares. That will actually inflate the price a little bit. So they announced share buybacks here, and they're looking at, I believe it was 10% over the next year. So we're starting to see some of that already happening. So if you look at, if I extend these lines here, well, yeah, these lines are probably going to start going up. And, you don't see it initially here, but we are starting to see in here, we are starting to see a higher already. We're already seeing that bottom. I think of it as moving a bit higher. So what I've done is, even though in round 1, my low, so my buy number was $16. In round 2, my buy number, I think it was around 17. Now, this is going to be the third one, and for that reason, you might think, oh, well, what about 18? I was thinking about that, but because of these share buybacks, it already looks like 18 is going to be a hard one to get. I am going with 19, and that's not my strike price. That is my, well, I mean, yeah, I guess you could call it my strike price. That's my buy price. That's where I would set my limit. So anything 19 or below, and I'm going to be stacking Air Canada. And I will then sell it, I'll probably, once it crosses 22, as I said, I'll do a stop loss, and I will raise that stop loss as it moves. So for example, if it hits 22, I'll put in the stop loss, you know, for around 22. If it keeps going up and all of a sudden it's up past 23, I'll just readjust my stop loss, but this time I'll do it at 23, you know, opposed to 22. So that's kind of just that way I'm going to handle it. But anyway, that's Air Canada, and that's the plan. That's the plan. All right, all right. Let's go big for a moment. Rory says TMX has an options chain you can look at. Oh, interesting. I have not looked at that yet, but yeah. Let's just take a look here. You're right. There is a. I know I've seen it here. Options over here. Here we go. So yeah, here is some of these are calls and puts on the other side. I was scrolling down to see the puts, but yeah, it's calls and puts there. So yeah, you can. There's a lot of information on TMX for sure. Oh, sorry guys, let me pull this back up. TMX options. These are the Air Canada ones. So yeah, you got your calls and you got your puts over here. All of the bid ask and all that fun stuff. So yeah, you can get a general idea. Absolutely. It's very good information. All right. Vic says we can't expect the market to keep giving 20% gains per year like 2023 and 2024. That's true. That's true. Eventually, we are going to go into a bear market. You know, it's a normal part. Now, we had a bear market in 21. So at 20, well, technically the end of 21. So 2022 was mostly the bear market. So yeah, it wasn't a big one though. It wasn't a big one. And just to show you guys, whoops, I don't need Air Canada anymore. I need, right over here. Whenever I want to show you the general market, so we'll look at the S&P 500. We'll just use VFV. VFV pretty much, well, it's a passive ETF for, well, the S&P 500. So it mirrors it very well. So when we look here, all right, let's just go 5-year. All right, so here we can sort of see. So this here would be the peak, basically right around Christmas. That's when things went wild. December 20th, and then this line right here, that's your bear market right there. So the last bear market went from, so basically the end of 2021 until, well, kind of really, you know, you could argue that, you know, that even as early as June, like it was a very short one. We did have, but that's more of a bull pump. I would say in about here, I would say October. October would be the more proper. And then we've gone into, well, look at this. We went into a bull market and a strong bull market. And then, well, then we had Donald Trump's Liberation Day, holy banana bread, and then right back into that strength. So yeah, we're due. Now, if I come back out here, I'm going to come out to the 20-year for a second here. So you could sort of see. Now it looks a little bit shorter, but there is that bear market right in there. That technically, see, this is the pandemic. It's kind of like, but here's the last little bear market. You see, bear markets are pretty short. Like, look at this. And then that long. So bull markets go much, much longer than bear markets. But yeah, we're probably going to get, so let's say one comes at the end of the year. So if we get a bear market at the end of the year, it would probably, it's hard to say how long it will go because we got tariffs. We got a whole bunch of extra crap in the system that's not normally there. It could go a year. It could go a year. It could go longer. I don't know if it would go 2 years, but it could definitely go a year to maybe a year and a half. But at the same time, we'll figure that out. We'll figure it out when it happens. Right now, the market just keeps on chugging, no matter what it seems. All right. Anna says, yeah, I also need a dip. Yeah, well, we all need a dip for sure. Vic, $1.19 at Costco gas. Well, that's not too shabby. All right. Brian says, eBank, the European banks have done better than bank, the Canadian banks. What is your thoughts on European banks for stability and growth compared to Canadian banks? eBank has more diversification. Simple as that. So eBank has a lot more diversification than bank. So I like them both. I think they complement each other, to be honest. So eBank will give you the European, bank gives you, of course, the Canadian. Now, bank also gives you a little bit of the life codes as well, so that's kind of nice. So I'm of that type. Sometimes people say, well, should I go with A or should I go with B? Sometimes it makes sense to go with both. I do like both of these funds, for sure. All right, Jay says, I've transitioned some of my funds to Utes ETF. Probably next year would be healthcare. Okay, fair enough. I do like Utes. For sure. Sean says, political views on this channel are embarrassingly delusional. Finance chat is great. Okay, fair enough. I mean, we're not a political channel. We're not a political channel for sure. So, yeah, that makes sense. All right. Brian says, I turned around one day while heading up near the Peterborough because I saw a street sign that said Easy Street. I posted it on Facebook with the caption, found it. It was a dead-end street. That's hilarious. That is funny. Joe says, who would have thought XIU 1 year 22% while VFV 1 year 18% while Trump plays games? Yeah. Well, yeah, VFV, that's the whole thing. Like, the market has been very strong. I mean, despite, and this is where it doesn't, I don't care what the politics are. Right now, the market's doing good. I like that. But at the same time, I kind of like some of the craziness that does happen when we get days where we get some of these big dips. Like, I would have loved to have had more capital ready for Liberation Day because that was a fantastic dip. Definitely would have loved to. Jack says, up 38% on Google and not trimming any. Let's go. Hold on for dear life, gang. Let's see. Awesome plan. Thanks for this awesome explanation on the Air Canada strike price. Jack says, there's always good buying opportunities, even now. Defense, I thought we had a bear market at Liberation Day. And you know what? That's the thing. The fear was big, but it didn't last. It really didn't last. And I mean, looking right here, you can see there's Liberation Day. It was just in and out. And that's the thing. Because you got to realize it's not that companies all of a sudden had a bad day on that day. It was just the fear reaction to, the announcement of all of the tariffs. I don't want to call it an overreaction, but yeah, everything really is. I mean, when you look at it psychologically, almost everything's an overreaction because people tend to overreact, then correct their reaction as they realize, okay, all right, we're blowing things a little out of proportion. So, not to say the tariffs are good, but the reaction will make it much worse than it actually is. Jack says, shortest bull market of all time next to the great cough crash. Or shortest bear market. There we go. Bob says, the economy is not the stock market, and the stock market is not the economy. That is true. They're definitely linked, though. And that's kind of one of those things, because they're not in a bubble. So what happens in the economy? That absolutely does impact the stock market. It doesn't go as much the other way. The stock market can sometimes do some crazy things that have absolutely no impact on the economy. But for the most part, yeah, the economy can have an impact. But they are different. There is a line, definitely. Rory said, bought XEQT on Liberation Day? Nice. Yeah, that would be a good buy. Now, there was a story that I did want to just bring up very quickly. Jean Charest. So he was the premier of Quebec at one point, and he is actually saying something really, really interesting. He has come out today and said, we down 10 years from now, he said, we are going to be thanking Donald Trump for the tariffs. And not because we're going to be happy and enjoy. Actually, guys, let me go big screen for this. Not because we're going to be happy and enjoy the tariffs, but because these tariffs are a bit of a catalyst for Canada. The tariffs, the trade war, it's forcing Canada out of, and he called it economic lethargy. So, and I kind of agree with this. I think, I think the tariffs are a good thing in that sense. And the fact that Canada has so many resources that we really should be a lot more independent with those resources. We should be, well, our infrastructure should be in place, all of that stuff. And I've been saying this for a while. So he also said that some of the effects of these tariffs is that we're starting to rethink Canada's economy. So he's saying that we need a review. We need to look at reviewing the tax system. I definitely agree that Canada is, the taxes are higher, and I think out of all the G7, we're up at the top. I don't know if we're at the top, but we're darn close. Yeah, we need a reduction in taxes. I agree, 100%. He also was talking about accelerating major projects, and we kind of got that with the One Canada economy bill, but have the Liberals gone far enough? I don't think they have. I think the Conservatives are 100% right that should be even faster. I look at it this way: there should be no reason that it should take more than a year to be breaking ground on a new infrastructure project. Because if you can't figure out and get all of the studies done in a year, then there's something wrong. Then maybe you need to rework how those studies are done. And he also says that this is teaching us to reduce U.S. independence, and I think that's a good idea. If you want to be a sovereign country, you want to be able to stand on your own, and that's, I think, something Canada is doing. And the reality is too, and this is also helping our economy, is that we have been trading a lot more outside of the United States. So, earlier we were talking about Kitimat and the liquid nitrified gas that's leaving there. So, yeah, that's kind of a big thing as well. And, I think in the long term, if we stay the right course, if we build Canada's infrastructure, if we really work on becoming the economic superpower that we should be, yeah, I'll agree with Sheree. Donald Trump will deserve a thank you. He probably won't be around in 10 years, but it's kind of that kick in the pants that Canada needs, and it never feels good to get kicked in the butt. But let's hope we do this right. The Liberals have talked the talk, and I've been saying this. I need to see them walking the walk. I've seen some steps, but I haven't seen the walk yet. So, and being that they're a minority, if they don't walk the walk, they might find that they might be introduced to the door. So, just something to keep in mind. All right, Jim says the TSX had a nice spike up right at the end. Oh, did it? Let's take a look. All right, TSX. Oh, look at that. Yeah, it actually, it overcame that little thing with gold. But look at this. Gold also had a little bit of a spike. And I bet, well, no, gold is still down. All right. Interesting. So the TSX did it on its own. That, yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. All right. Jack says, I sold my Canacol Energy plus 22%. It pumped 77% in the last week after acquisition talks by Ecopetrol was down a lot before that news. Yeah, and that's a perfect time to sell something. Sometimes you get a rumor or you get news like this that comes along and you get a massive pump initially. It's usually better to sell in that pump than to wait it out. Because once again, you know how I was talking about how people overreact? It's the same thing. They hear this wonderful news, like, oh, they're going to be bought. People get excited. People start buying to get in and see, oh, can I make some money off of this? Well, that, of course, pushes the price up. And if you're already a holder, sometimes that's not a bad place to take some profits. That's for sure. Rory says, I'd like to see Baytex or Birchcliff Pado as a buyout at some point. Yeah, I think Baytex is ripe for a takeover. And I like Baytex. Brian, let's see. Brian says, probably one of the few times I've agreed with Sheree. He is basically saying it's a wake-up call to get our act together, stand on our own 2 feet. Yeah, exactly. And I think I'm in the same boat, Brian. I don't think I've even really listened to Sheree much. All right. No 51st, exactly. Is this breaking news? Let's see. Judge voids $2.2 billion Harvard funding freeze by Trump administration. Oh, yes. But you know what? This is how it works. We know. Trump will appeal that, and it'll get tied up. And eventually, it's going to eventually go to up to the Supreme Court. And we'll see how that ends up going. But, so far, most judges who have voided some of Trump's stuff have not been very successful. Have not been very successful at all. And Jack says, I want Google to settle their lawsuit with Trump already and gain more favor with the Trump administration. You just want the price. You want the price to pick up. So yeah, there is that as well. All right. Oh my gosh, we're almost at an hour. We're almost at an hour. And guys, if you want a Friday show, we are one super or gifted sub away from hitting that. So just something to keep in mind as we start getting a little bit closer to the end. So that's always a good thing. Always a good thing for sure. All right. So coming up, I'm trying to think about. I've been thinking a lot about September. September, October, November, December. Those are where the channel really ramps up. So, definitely sort of looking at content, what we can look at. Interestingly enough, we will have, and this is coming up in October. Our 4th year anniversary is coming up in October. So 4 years for the channel. So we will have, it'll be a bonus. I think it'll be a bonus live stream in October for that. Yeah, and it'll just be more or less, I think it's going to be more or less Q&A or just we'll just chat. We'll just have some fun. It'll be cool. It'll be cool. We'll pull that up. And for that one, generally, I don't mind having guests for that. So if any of you want to show your mugs on the air, that's one that we could definitely just bring on some folks if you want to. It's up to you. Sometimes sometimes the audience in general is like, hey, I've seen Jim in the chat all this time, but what does he look like? It might be your chance. But then again, it even if I do it by myself, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. All of that fun stuff. So that is coming up in now this year as well. I'm already started. I know it's too early. I know it's too early to start thinking about 10,000 subs, but it's in the back of my mind because we're gonna do something big. We'll do some kind of a big celebration. I have no idea what. And before anybody says it, no, we are not going to skydive. It won't happen. All right. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Brian has gifted a Mountain Finance membership, securing a Friday show. And, well, that also means we've officially got a corral of goats. So we got a whole bunch of goats. Love it, love it, love it. That's pretty cool. Now, who won? Jonathan. Jonathan won the membership. Wow. Thank you, Brian. And enjoy, Jonathan. Enjoy. All right. Michael says, which earnings was good? Like, are you talking about banks? What are you talking? Be a little more specific for me, Michael. A little more specific. Jim says, let's see, they would run for their lives. Absolutely. And Jonathan, it's never too late to win. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I mean, I don't know if I'd call it. Yeah, it's winning. I guess it's winning. I was going to say, it's just Brian giving you a gift. Thank you, Brian. You're welcome, says Brian. All right, congratulations to John. So, any earnings? There was actually, I think Alimentation. I think Couche-Tard had earnings today. Let's check them out. Let's pull up here ATD. All right, let's add them. Let's pull them up. Let's see here. Yep. So as you guys know, they exploded today. They exploded. I mentioned I really wanted I wanted to swing this. I didn't. That was a mistake. But look at this. And this is kind of an interesting thing too. They beat on earnings by 3.09%. And this here is what stopped me, guys. Their revenue. I wasn't feeling like they had it there, and they didn't. They actually underperformed on revenue, 3.11%. So they missed on revenue, but they hit on earnings. And a lot of the excitement is that a lot of people, believe it or not, are really excited that the whole drama of their attempt to buy 7-Eleven is finally over and we can put it behind us. That, I think, really helped pile this on. But look at this. They went from $69.55. At one point, they wicked all the way up to $74.58. That is really good. So, yeah, Alimentation Couche-Tard. They are, I would say they won the earnings. They're winning the earnings this week so far with, at least with investors. All right. Cece. And before I read this, Cece, I'm going to have some coffee. Cece says, September is not appearing atypical. My day trading metrics are switching back now, breaking months-long shorting restrictions. Yeah, we'll have to see. Now, keep in mind, too. So when I said atypical, like in the title, I said atypical September. I'm talking TSX, not so much the S&P 500. So I think it will be an atypical September in one way or another. Maybe not that it's going to just be a nice green September for everybody, and that might be why. I think it's just that there's a lot of different things, and we have there's a lot of opportunity still for things to really excite and really have some impacts on the market. So, like, we know already that talks are still underway between Trump and Carney. Will we get a resolution? I know that news broke saying that the two of them had a big, long conversation on Monday. So we'll have to sort of see. And, of course, there could be a lot of different things that could still cause a little bit, like I'm hoping. I wouldn't, and this is a funny thing. I don't want to say I want Trump to do something silly, but I kind of do, because I wouldn't mind another big buy the dip opportunity. And I think a few of you think that way too, but I think it will be in a typical month in one way or another. It may not be atypical in the fact that, we're looking at a full green flush month. We'll have to see. It'll be interesting. It's going to be interesting none the least. Kelly. When a bunch of mortgages are coming up for renewal, do bank stocks benefit or suffer? If they have put enough loan loss provisions aside, then they don't really suffer. But because you got to look at it this way, the money that's put aside for the loan loss provisioning, it's already deducted. Like, they've already removed it from their cash flow. So it's accounted for. It's not like a big loss. They've already prepared for it. So one of the things that's been helping the banks is that they've been putting aside too much money, and it hasn't been as bad as they were expecting. Not to say, now, keep in mind, this doesn't mean that because so far it hasn't been as bad as expected, that it won't get worse than expected down the road. Because we still have the rest of this year and into next year this is when the you know the basically the sub 2 and sub 3% prime mortgages are coming up for renewal. So these are the ones that, them has the most danger associated with them. But so far they have overcompensated, and that's been good for them. So we'll see if that will continue. And Q4 I think will tell us if they make it through Q4 smelling like roses like they have so far. I would say at that point they're probably okay for the rest, for what's left coming in 2026. Isaac says I sold some Couche-Tard today, but I'm still holding a lot from a while ago. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking profits. Nothing wrong with that at all. Although, not so much with this. This is a sort of a different situation, but if you have a situation where the market is just continually going up, that doesn't mean, I got to take profits from everything. In a case like that, if you're going to take profits, I usually will say stop loss it, like at least ride it up a bit, see if it's going to keep going. Oh, Rory says just doing some smaller DCA until the market does dip down. Yeah, absolutely. Emrit says there has been decent dips in MSTE. Hopefully this is normal volatility. I think the covered calls are just not hitting. Yeah, it's interesting enough. Also, it used to be at one point that strategy very much mirrored the price of Bitcoin. But a lot of the strategies that strategy's been using to buy more Bitcoin have kind of sort of, I don't know, they've kind of given them their own little bit of a vibe when it comes to how they're traveling. But I think if Bitcoin does do well, they're going to still do well. They're still going to do well overall. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with some good, what's the world? I was just, sorry, Nightbot was saying something. I was just like, what, something ahead, and it's caught my eye. I think it will be very interesting. Nonetheless, all right, Brian says, I would think that most of the mortgages would not be money losing even on foreclosures. I would think 99% of the losses are credit cards and personal loans. There's going to be some of that. But part of it, too, is you have to realize that during the pandemic, when the rates were so low, the fact that people were being told that rates were going to be low for a long time meant people who weren't really in a position to be buying houses were buying houses. So there are going to be some foreclosures. Now, mind you, the banks will work with people. Like, they're doing things like trying to, stretch out amortizations, things like that, to try to help people from losing their homes. All right, now, world free speech. And this is what, all right, XRP, Diamond Hands World, or Diamond Hands World? All right, I almost got it. Diamond Hand World, maybe? All right. Nightbot. Nightbot says that you're spamming symbols. Nightbot, give it a rest. Don't worry. I'm okay with you guys spamming some signals. Well, if you decide to send like 100 diamond hands and then just keep on hitting it over and over again, yeah, then Nightbot needs to put a stop to you. But what is ATD, and don't trade in the USA? So ATD, Alimentation Couche-Tard, they're actually a Canadian company. So they basically run convenience stores. But yeah, they're on the TSX. They're on the TSX.to. All right. Google, still hitting new highs after hours. Oh, are they? You know what? We're here. I think I've removed everybody. Let me add Google here. Let's take a look. GOOG. All right, let's pull up Google. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, look at this jump. That's a big jump. And it's funny, that's a big jump when there's not an earnings. You normally see that on earnings. That's kind of funny. But once again, that's the news. Yeah. So right now, they closed at 231.10, and in after hours trading, 232. All right. Fun. There we go. Rory, 1.2 trillion credit card debit in the U.S. Yeah. Oh no, credit cards are another mess altogether, and they have money put aside for them as well. There's a lot of people, a lot of people. In fact, um, if it weren't for robocallers, you probably wouldn't get collection calls nowadays because there's so many people in default. But yeah, no, there have been a lot of problems. All right, let's read this. 9bot help me because XRP is just in the beginning, and this Scandinavian banks have just started making announcement about XRP. Okay, well, I don't know, but I'm not sure what that is, but that's fine. 9bot. All right. Zamair says hello. Any thoughts on barrier funds like SBAR or defined outcome funds? Let's take a look at SBAR. I haven't really looked at it, to be honest. So I'm coming in here. I've heard of SBAR, but all right, here we go. So it is a US, a simplify barrier income ETF. All right. So like I said, I don't know a lot about it. I've heard about it. That's about it. I've heard about it. So yeah, it's basically an actively managed exchange traded fund. Let's see. The funds seek to that's okay. Using two income strategies, income one and income generation option spread strategy. So it looks like it does its own version of options on there, and an interest income strategy as well. Okay, interesting. Let's take a look and see. Okay, oh, so it's fairly new as well. It's got some interesting movement, that's for sure. What is the return on it? 12.854% yield. It's interesting. But I don't, Zmayer, I don't really know a lot about it. Like I said, this is probably the first time I've actually looked at it per se. I've heard it on different US channels. Amrat, I heard that strategy can be listed on the S&P 500 now, so interesting to see how it goes. Oh, yes. That's interesting, yeah. Well, I know they were listed on the NASDAQ, but that's the thing. Once you get listed on a big exchange, you have to think about ETFs. That means a lot of ETFs that are trying to get concentrate on that exchange have a good chance of adding you to their basket. So that's always a good thing, getting added to a big exchange. All right, Jack says, if you diamond hands, the world is yours in the future. Oh, there we go. I almost got there. I didn't get to the future, but I got to the diamond hands and I got to the world. SBIT buying this November, cashing Christmas 2026. Okay. Insane volume. All right. I got a BS YouTube AI on my For You page about the Pharmaceutical Independence Act, declaring a national emergency so we could manufacture drugs here in a plant in Montreal. Is this BS? I don't know if it's BS. It sounds like BS, though. I have not heard anything at all about this on your For You page. I would be very careful. I would not, if it gives you any kind of links, I wouldn't click them. I wouldn't click them because it sounds scammy. It sounds like a scam. If it sounds like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. This sounds like a scam, smells like a scam. It may be a scam. I can't say 100% definitive because I've never heard of it before, but it sure does sound like a scam. So I would be very, very, very careful. And I used very 3 times, one for each Kelly. Rory says, I swear the robots are trading it. Sometimes. 100 diamond hands marked safe from Nightbot. There we go. Yes, you are marked safe from Nightbot. I wish I could put a thing in Nightbot to tell it that 3 are okay. Maybe don't do 4 diamonds, but 3 diamonds are fine. If only Nightbot were a little more intelligent. Jack's also mentioning, no idea, but I got a lot of these YouTube ads of an AI mark conflict of interest company trying to get me to buy some crypto scam. If it's trying to sell you a crypto coin, then I no longer have any doubt. Do not touch it. It's not good. It's not good. One thing I'm not happy of Google is sideloading apps on Android. Let us police what we do in our own devices. Yeah, I think so. I have no problem with putting it in as a default, but give us the option to change something if we don't like it. And that's the thing. Jack says that's why Google has Graphene OS for their Pixel phones. And Kelly's got some of the ones that Jack got as well. Best privacy you can get even if the police seize your phone. Are you safe if you set it up right? Let's see. The world is yours while Tony is face down in the pool. I think, is that a Sopranos? Is that a Sopranos reference? Jay. Yeah, Google wants to kill lineages and Graphene OS little by little. Makes sense. Courtesy of the Bolivian overlord. Okay. Guys, we are pretty close to the end. If you guys got your last minute questions, get them in. We're not this one here. Normally these ones go about an hour and a half, hour 15, hour and a half. The weekends ones, I would like to say the norm is 2 hours for the weekend show, but last weekend we went 3. We went 3 hours. I was just like, wow, but that's fine. It was. You guys were just absolutely rocking it in the comments, so nothing wrong with that. Politicians says, algo trading, 90,000 trades per second. Good luck day trading. Yeah. It's, quite honestly, I think you have a better chance with longer swing trading than day trading. Day trading's tough. It is tough. I'm not going to lie about that. Rory says Scarface. Oh, okay. All right. Al Pacino, I think. Let's see. I make a face when I accidentally open Bigsby. Uh-oh. Haven't heard Bigsby in a while. Brian says 3 hours because it was a long weekend. Bigsby is actually the worst I set aside button to Gemini. Oh boy. Yeah. I live in an Apple world. What can I say? But I have a little bit of familiarity with some of the other things. It's actually interesting. At one point, I used to know both systems really well. I used to be able to troubleshoot a Windows machine because, like I said, I used to work for Compaq. But well, I probably couldn't troubleshoot I probably could do okay, but it might take me scrambling around a little bit. I'm so used now to OS, Apple OS, that yeah. All right, Scarface is the best movie ever. Apple sucks. Yes and no. I'm giving you this, politicians. If you're a gamer, Apple sucks. Hands down. It's not a gaming system. It's not a gaming ecosystem. Apple will probably argue, there's some games you can play on Apple. But yeah, now where Apple is really good is just when it comes to the whole video editing. Apple is just hands down still beats everybody. So that's kind of that thing. I think if you're a video editor, so even like a YouTuber or something like that, I think there's an advantage to Apple, and being able as well to, if I film something on my phone, I can just drag and drop it pretty much straight onto my main computer, onto the studio. That's big. That's so much saves me a lot of time. But yeah, if you're a gamer, then you are 100% right, for sure. Jay says, sorry, I'm a boring investor. I only have bank, HHIS, and SDAY. You know what, Jay, I say this all the time. Boring, when it comes to investing, boring often wins the race. So not a bad thing. Amrit, I jumped in late, but was there any good dips today? Most things looked like it rocketed. Yeah, for the most parts, things did rocket a little bit. Yeah, I can't really think of anything there wasn't really many dip opportunities per se. Politicians bought NUGT today, already regretting it. That happens. that happens. Yeah. Jack says if you had to pick one crypto to go all in on besides Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, XRP, which one and why? Oh dear. All right. So as you know, I like Solana. I like Bitcoin. If you asked me this a year ago, it would have been an easy answer. Um, it would have been, yeah, it would have been a lot easier a year ago because there was well, Polkadot at that point was definitely my favorite for the longest time, and the reason for that is that Polkadot was designed as being kind of a because it uses these things called bridges to be able to bridge different coins. So Polkadot was almost like if you think about the early internet when they came up with TCP/IP as a sort of a standard to be able to allow different things to communicate, whether it be your printer to your computer, all of that. Well, Polkadot was looking to be like that in crypto. So I was very, very bullish on it. I still like it. But it's hard to say now. If I was going to, maybe, well, I don't know about it. I don't know. Polkadot doesn't do well in crypto winter. So with the last crypto winter that we had, as we were moving into it, I got completely out of Polkadot before all the crap hit the fan. So it's I'll give you an answer. Right now, if I had to stick everything into one coin, now you're not saying how long I have to stick it into that one coin, but I would probably I'd go with Dogecoin. I would go with Dogecoin because of its volatility. Because I could sit it in there, and if I don't like the price, I could wait for when I am ready to pull it all out. So that's something I would certainly do. But honestly, I would still rather stick to my ETFs. Like right now, the only Bitcoin I have is when somebody uses my link for ShakePay. I get a little bit, they get a little bit. That's all I have right now. Everything else is ETFs. And I'm liking that for sure. All right. Okay. All right. Let's see. Apple to E. Let's see. All right. Michael says, I look at companies that trade in the USA exchanges that I can't pull that I can't pull the other one up or never trade it. Okay. Fair enough. Kelly, I have one play account for crypto and just the nail biter Cardano. I remember you mentioning that. Yeah, good old Cardano. Hopefully you get back in the green. Jim says investing's supposed to be like watching grass grow. It can be, but because that's investing, right? That's investing, and then there's trading. Because they're two different things. Trading. A little more action on it, but it can also age you faster. Joe says Bitcoin Cash. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Cardano is still underrated, but I'm all in Litecoin, says Jack. Yeah, Litecoin is. I thought about Litecoin. Roy says, and then Trump comes along with the lawnmower. Kelly. I'm listening to proper advice for investing. But the crypto FOMO forced me to use my entertainment money. Yeah, I understand that. So that's the thing. When you got the Play Money Fund, at least, you can wait it out. Or if you really, one of the things about waiting it out too is that I don't mind doing sideways moves. So, if I'm in a coin that's just absolutely showing no potential and I'm in the red, I might wait for a dip in a coin that has a lot more potential and then maybe move sideways. I might, depending. I'll still do the math, because obviously you're taking a loss when you get out of that one coin, you move it into the other coin, and your hope is that the other coin is going to carry you back up to where you were profitable. So that's just something you may want to consider, but do the math. Make sure it makes sense. Don't just sort of go haphazardly. I know it's play money, but still, it's still money. Bitcoin Cash is a good pick too. Jack, Bitcoin, go big or go home. It will always be the reference point to crypto and the one that will be considered the safest. Yeah, absolutely. Bitcoin to me is the number one safest coin for sure, without a doubt. All right, let's see. Bitcoin also actually sucks if you want to send it. The fees are insane. Yeah, it depends. Like if you're sending it across an exchange, one of the things you have to always look is look at the different spread on that exchange. A lot of times there's a bit of a spread there, and that can, like, especially when you're buying and selling Bitcoin, that can come into play for sure. Brian, yes, I agree, but look at who is always buying, and when it halves, it goes up as well. Yep, that it did for sure. Rory, Hut goes up and down 10% a lot. Hut, I used to day trade Hut quite a bit, because of that movement spike, and then they went and they bought back some shares, and I was just like, no. No, they didn't buy back shares. They did a reverse split. That's what it was. It was a reverse split they did, and I was just like, no. I didn't like that because all of a sudden they were in a perfect little area in my trading fund, and then when they doubled the price, it just meant that I could only make half the profits with the amount I had allotted for them. So I haven't traded them in a while, but I like that 10% quite a bit. Jack, that's why I like Litecoin. It's essentially Bitcoin, but 4 times the supply, almost no fees, instant trades, been online 24/7, almost 14 years now. Still massively undervalued with companies starting to buy. Zemayer says, I think crypto is cooked. Not a hedge against inflation, never-ending new coins, goes up and down with risk assets and gold doing better. Bitcoin is interesting. Bitcoin is, crypto in itself, yeah, there's a lot of garbage. A lot of garbage. Absolutely. And that's why I mentioned, like, the key coins, I think they're fine. And if they have a use, that's great. That makes them a little bit better. I think the big coins are fine. I think they're going to be around for a long time. But once you get past that initial handful of coins, the risk level goes higher and higher, faster and faster. So, yeah, be careful. Emrit, I think Bitcoin must be kept in non-registered account unless it is an ETF. What platform is a good way to buy Bitcoin since you also have to deal with the exchange? So in Canada, there's a couple of different ones. If you're already in Wealthsimple, you can buy it there. You can also get it through ShakePay. So ShakePay is kind of neat too. Now, ShakePay does have this feature where you can shake your phone every day, and they'll give you a couple basically they give you about 3 cents worth of Bitcoin free, but it is a transaction. So that's the thing with ShakePay. If you're on this big long 365-day streak of shaking your phone, well, those are 365 little transactions, and it makes your taxes a little more complicated because they technically have to be claimed. And there's different services you can use to do the taxes and do up all of the math for you, luckily, but still. Like, I think I used Coinly. All right, and Kelly uses Wealthsimple. All right, and I'm skipping past those. All right, Zemayer. Yeah, how do you know which is and which isn't? Whoops, everything just jumped on me. Which isn't, changes all the time. Not really. I think your main one, and I look at it this way. I tend to look at the market cap too. The market cap kind of gives you a general idea. Like if there's a lot, and nowadays too, like if somebody brand new was coming in and saying, I don't understand crypto, I don't know which ones are safe, I would almost advise somebody to stick to the ones that there's ETFs for. Even if you're just buying the coins, only because if there's ETFs, then there is that institutional aspect going into those coins. That does give them a little bit of safety. So for example, in Canada, we've got Solana, we've got Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course, we got XRP. So those would be a nice four coins to start with. And as we get more and more ETFs into different coins, yeah, then expand. But that would be a good. I think that would be a good starting point for somebody who was getting into crypto. Or you, like I said, you don't even have to hold the keys, or the coins. And there's that whole thing: not your keys, not your crypto. I don't care about that. I mean, if I'm doing it through an ETF, they're regulated. It's not like they can just sort of decide, oh, those aren't your keys, so you got nothing. Bye bye. They can't do that. They're regulated. It took them accepting a lot of regulation just to be able to get these ETFs approved. So you're safe. You're safe that way. I mean, obviously, if the coin drops in price, you're not safe that way, but you are safe from rug pulls and everything else that could potentially happen. All right, that was a comment. So we're at the point that I don't read comments all the time, guys. Zamair, yes, of course, not your crypto. Doorpat, will Cineplex ever break even? I am down almost 20%. Not sure if they are completely obsolete now because of streaming services like Netflix. I would not be putting my money long term into Cineplex. I really, really think that I think movies are just like, look at the blockbusters nowadays, and there's going to be people on the internet, they're going to say it's because they're all woke. They're all woke, so nobody wants to go see them. Well, it's not. That's not the story. It doesn't matter if it's woke or not. People just aren't going to the movies like they used to. There's too many other options, and you're right about things like Netflix. Like, even take a look. Look at the last Superman movie. It came out not that long ago, and you can already watch it at home. It's already been out for a couple of weeks on digital. It's just movies. I think the whole world of movies is changing, and I think companies like Cineplex will either have to evolve into something different, or I think their days could be numbered. How long will it take? Hard to say. It's hard to say. Like, I imagine you'll see movies trying to survive, like, in theatrical movies trying to survive for the longer time, but I think they're done. I think they're over. I think they're done, and stick a fork in it. They're done. I bet within 10 years you won't have movie theaters anymore. That's what I'm thinking. You might have something different. They might find a new way, but they have to evolve into something. Zamir, always a new one. What is it this time? Solana? Well, Solana's been around for a while. Solana's actually a coin that I have faith in Solana. And we do have an ETF in Solana as well. Jack says, respectively, you sound very uneducated on crypto, so I think you are better off avoiding it entirely for now. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. And Zamayer is saying, respectfully, you're a fanboy. Say something substantial and not just rant. All right. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone. Let's see here. All right, Kelly has to run. Yes, we're gonna be running fairly soon here too. Brian says, back in the day, ShakePay would accumulate consecutive days of shaking until the 21 Satoshis you get today. I was up well over 1,000 a day at one point. Yeah. Now they changed, like, apparently now, if you make a deposit, so if you move some cash into your account, you get a week of higher numbers. So instead of the 21 Satoshis, I don't know what that limit is. At one point, I used to be able to get that with like $10. Like I could deposit $10 and then I would get high numbers. But I think it's higher than that now. It might be 20, maybe 25. I don't know. Rory, always fun. Have a great week, Candace. See you on Discord. Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Oh, did not know you can purchase through Wealthsimple. ShakePay sounds interesting. I guess you get 3 cents a day. There must be a way that has a log that shows those amounts received. Yeah, it's basically when you download it from them, unless they've changed it. I think it was kind of like a common separated value list. It was a mess that I was able to download from them before, unless that's changed. So I don't know. I think the last time I had to download it for taxes was 2 tax sessions ago. Let's see. BTC is stuttering from outflow. And for example, ETH is the hit now. They compete for the same spot that deflated prices. Yeah, ETH has been doing fantastic. ETH has been absolutely doing big for sure. All right. Altcoin season. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, altcoin season does tend to come after Bitcoin's had its run. Usually Bitcoin, then Ethereum, then altcoins. HPE, what was the earnings and was it a beat? I do not know. I do not know. Let's take a quick look here. HPE. All right. Oops, HPE. Here we go. Oh, no, that's hope. We have no hope. We need HPE. So Hewlett Packard. There we go. Yes. They actually bought Compaq when I was working for them. We all got laid off because of that. So thank you. Thank you, Hewlett Packard. All right. So let's take a gander here. Here's their earnings here. Let's see here. So yeah, they did beat. They beat on earnings by 5.51%. And they beat on revenue by 3.34%. So not too shabby. XRP is just in the beginning. Soon there will be 130 countries using it for payments. XRP to 1 million will be a small amount if it becomes global use. The Scandinavian banks have just started. Yeah, you mentioned that before. No, I think XRP. I think that's a good coin. I used to be over on Crypto Night in Canada, over on Tim and Nancy Danter's channel, and they were big into XRP, and I think they got a lot. I think they're very happy with their XRP at this point because it's been doing good. Let's see. Are you following this Venezuela thing going on with the U.S. stationing subs off the coast? Not really. The last I heard was that they had, I think they sunk a boat or a ship. I think they sunk a ship, but that was the last I heard, so I haven't heard about the subs. Oh, boy. Oh, what are they doing? What are they doing? XRP is goated. I sold my bag back in 2021 and regret it so much. Yeah, I would tell you. Back when the Danters were saying XRP, I wish I had bought I wish I bought some because I'm very bullish on XRP. Zamair, as a currency, crypto is a total wash. Nobody pays with it. As a commodity, it is failing right in front of our eyes. Governments are hoarding gold and not going Michael Saylor. Okay, fair enough. And it's not, well, all crypto is not considered a commodity. I think only Bitcoin is really the one that they're treating, at least the SEC was treating as a commodity at one point. But yeah, it's not a store of, it's not really a hedge yet at this point. Is it a store of value? You could argue for it. I mean, it has, if you've been investing in Bitcoin, if you've been long-term investing in Bitcoin for the last 5 years, you've made a crap load of money. That's what it does boil down to. So is that a store of value or a value multiplier? It's you have to sort of look. You have to sort of look and decide for yourself. Canadian exchanges were forcing you to sell XRP during the legal challenge. All 3 of mine forced me to sell. Oh, really? Oh, my. Yeah, that's why, some people say hardware wallets are paying. Just leave it on the exchange. You put something like that on a hardware wallet, and they can't really force you to sell it. As far as I know, unless they really get crazy. But yeah, I think you're fine if you put it on a hardware wallet. Jack says, "Are you serious? Shows how communist our government is. I was forced to sell mine, but I also held it in my Ledger cold wallet." So there, yeah, if you hold it in a cold wallet or a hardware wallet, I think you're fine. Is it being regulated as a commodity right now? There's not that much regulation on Bitcoin. Now, keep in mind, regulation on Bitcoin is going to be different, in different jurisdictions, different countries, all of that. I think it was more or less the SEC when back in the whole drama of setting up ETFs, so spot Bitcoin ETFs, they referred to it as a commodity at one point. And then other people were like, well, what about Ethereum? Is that a commodity? And they had said no at that point. But So it'll be interesting to see exactly what the SEC thinks. Now, keep in mind, um, as I believe Trump was going to appoint, and maybe he already did, a pro crypto head of the SEC, and that that might change things altogether. But I'm okay with a little bit of regulation for sure, because if it provides stability, then that's good for the coin. It's good for people who want to, especially institutional investors. The fact that it moved into spot ETFs in the U.S., that really did turn the needle quite a bit, and we could go even further. Let's see, a lot of Dutch investors made a ton of money on tulips. Oh, the tulips. That was a long time ago, but yes, I know what you're talking about. I know the full story. ShakePay, Newton and Virgo forced me to sell. ShakePay did. Oh, wow. Well, wait a minute. Brian, I didn't think ShakePay had XRP. They only have Ethereum and Bitcoin. So I question the ShakePay one, but definitely Newton and Virgo probably. Let's see. All right. Amrit says, Brian, what are you using to purchase? Or are you still using ShakePay or Virgo? All right. Well, guys, holy banana bread. We are definitely at the end. We've gone past the hour and a half we normally do, but we will be back here on Friday. We'll do this all over again. We'll see what the market brings. We'll see what the market brings. Until then, we also will have a video coming out on Friday. Going to be the 0 to 100K update video. Can't wait. And then we're back to a regular schedule next week. So that's going to be fantastic. All right. Until next time, guys, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will catch you later. Bye-bye.